Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classics/Non-Classics. This is episode number 596, and this is the 500th double shot. I originally was going to do the Deadpool Classic, I figured, I'll save that for next episode, but this one would be perfect for my 500th double shot. And they're both DC trades. First up, it's this really big, thick book known as Showcase presents The Great Disaster featuring the Atomic Knights. Yeah, this really big, thick Showcase presents book. I mean, look at this thing. I mean, sorry about the water damage. Yeah, that would happen because of my cup spilled in my backpack. But yeah, these are stories period over the course of 20 years. Yes. From 1960 to 1964, 1970 to 1971, 74 to 78, and 81 to 83. And these were the issues. There's a lot of issues in here. You have Weird World Tales, 22, 23, 30, 32, 40, 42 to 44, 46 to 49, 53, 64, 68 to 69, 123. That's all the Weird World Tale issues. Superman 295. House of Secrets numbers 86, 95, 97. The Unexpected 215 to 21. House of Mystery 318. Strange Avengers 117, 120, 123, 126, 129, 132, 135, 138, 141, 144, 147, 150, 153, 166, 156, and 160. That's all the Strange Adventures issues. First issue special, number 1, Hercules Unbound, the entire 12-issue ongoing series. These were the backup stories for Commodity 43 to 46, The Amazing World DC Comics number 12, and DC Comics number 57. Lots of books. Now, in the case of these various books, there are 7 different features in this particular book. Yep. First, you have the pre-disaster warnings. That's basically Weird World Tales 42 to 44 and Superman 265. This kind of would set the stage for these post-apocalyptic stories. Now, the first 3 stories in here, the Weird World stories, were written by Sheldon Meyer. No, I've never heard of this guy. And Alfred Licia. Pretty good stories, some of the future. The Superman issue was done by Elliot S. Migan, artwork by Curtis Swan. The cover art for the issue was done by Bob Oscar. The inker was also Bob Oscar and Terry Austin. And then you had the Day of Doomsday stories. These were a series of short stories that were lasting from, about 1 to about 3 pages. The first one was roughly 4 pages. I'm not kidding about that. These were the issues. Weird World Tales 64. Weird World Tales 123. Weird World Tales, this is the order they put them in the book. Weird World Tales 168. House Secrets 86, 95, 97. Weird World Tales 22, 23, 30, 32, 40, 46, 47. Actually, 46 to 49, 53, 69. Unexpected 215, House Mystery 318. That's Day of Doomsday story. The Tales of the Atomic Knights feature. Now, in the case of Weird World Tales, these stories are mostly written by these following writers: Wyatt Garden, Robin Stern, and Mike Bensley, Roger McKenzie, Lean Ween, who wrote several of these short stories, like a lot of them, Steve Skeets, Paul Kupperberg, Jack Usick, and George Conant. And here are the artists for these stories: Danny Bushy, Angel B. Magapi, Frank Miller. Excuse me. A lot of these are done by Jack Spring, Rick Buckler, Bill Durrett, Vince Cola, Paul Creature, Buddy Carl, The Objectivist Steve Ditko, Jeff Ogden. I'm sorry for mispronouncing these names. Alex Nino, Howard Sender, Jose Matas Marchino. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your names, but some of these names are really hard to pronounce. Okay, the Atomic Knights issues. Yeah, these are the ones that introduced the famous Atomic Knights on the cover. Yeah, it takes a while for these. Yeah, this is all various stories dealing with the Great Disaster, post-apocalyptic stuff. Now, the first story did introduce the Atomic Knights, which were led by a name of Gardner Guile, and he had a love interest named Murphy. I think that's her name. Yeah. Every single story began with all the cast of characters. Let's go to 110 here. Yeah. These were the cast of the book for the entire run. Yeah, it wasn't that many issues, like roughly 18 stories. Yeah. The Atomic Knights were a group of guys in the post-apocalyptic future found these suits of armor which had survived radiation, basically made them like survive like being shot by lasers. Yeah, this is the group. Gardner Guile was the leader of the group. You have two brothers named Wayne and Hollis Harbord. You have brother and sister duo Douglas Harold and Marnine, who was Gardner's love interest. Yeah, they pretty much lived together throughout the whole entire thing. And one of the last scientists, Brandon. Yeah, and this is really weird though. And this was pretty much the lineup, the entire feature. And yes, these guys had teamed with Superman, along with, well, a guy I'll talk about in a minute. All these stories were done by John Broome. Yep, he wrote every single story. And Murphy Anderson did the artwork. Fantastic stories. Those of you curious, now Linkara talked about briefly about the Atomic Knights when he talked about Bloodhaven. Now he talked about them writing like giant dinosaurs, giant Dalmatians. The first time they showed up was in issue Strange Adventures 138. That was their, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was roughly their 7th story. And they pretty much were part of the whole thing. And of course later on they introduced the whole thing of a car. And they did fight the character the Black Baron, though if you're curious what the heck he looked like in the original story, he looked a lot different than what he did in the actual like modern day depiction of him, which he looked so bizarre. You're probably thinking, dang, man, this guy looks so different. In the case of Human Flame, when he was brought back to the modern day, he didn't really change very much. No, he didn't. That was the neat thing about him. He did not change. Yeah, it's roughly the same exact outfit. Now, the Black Baron. What the heck this guy look like? Well, here he is. This is the Black Baron. I'm not kidding about that. This is what the guy looked like back in the 70s. Yeah, unlike in modern day where he was a black guy. Yep. And then you have the Galturn really good feature. First issue special number 1, which features the debut of the character Atlas, which James Robinson brought this guy to modern day. Excuse me. In, well, the coming of Atlas. Now, this was written and drawn by the late King of Comics, Jack the King Kirby. Now, the 12-issue, the Hercules Unbound series, it was an alternate future where Hercules basically was chained up for centuries, wound up in a post-apocalyptic future, and found things very different. Jerry Conway wrote the first 6 issues, and Jose Luis García-López drew the first 6 issues, with it finishes by Wally Wood. Those of you not familiar with Wally Wood, he's the guy who co-created Daredevil with Stan the Man Lee. With issue 7, the writing was taken over by Dave Michelini. Wally Wood pretty much did the finishes for the book up until issue 8. Walt Simonson pretty much took over as the artist for pretty much the rest of the series, with the cover art being taken over in issue 7 by Rich Buckler. Yeah, he took over the cover for like 1 issue, and then Walt Simonson pretty much with the cover art for pretty much the rest of the series. Dave Michelini was only the writer for about 3 issues, and then the book was handed over to Cary Bates for the last 3 issues of the series. Bob Layton took over the finishes with issue 9 up until, well, he did it for like 2 issues, and then like Walt Simonson all the full artwork. Conway came back to, you see another Conway story, where he did like a backup feature for Commodity the Last Boy on Earth. He did issue 43. You have one done by Paul Levitz. He's the guy who was a recurring writer for Lead Superheroes. 45 was done by David Anthony Croft. He also did 46. Robin Snyder did Unexpected 221. Paul Levitz did Amazing World DC Comics number 12. And as for DC Comics 57, which has Superman Team with the Atomic Knights and Hercules, that's done by Dan Mishkin and Gary Cullen. Yep. And Alex Silver on the artwork. Oh, and as for the cover itself, it's a big fat lie. I have no idea why in the world DC did this for. Yeah, the Atomic Knights fighting Hercules. And guess what? This never happened. There's no cover in the book that actually has this. Yeah, this is the first time I've actually seen this for a cover for a showcase book where the cover is a complete lie and it's nowhere in the book. I looked. It's nowhere in the book. The cover was done by Walt Simonson. Yeah, it's a great looking cover. I gotta praise Walt Simonson for that. But yeah, it's a big fat lie. And also the whole tagline featuring the Atomic Knights. They only had about 18 stories in here, plus of course the DC Comics Presents issue. You're probably thinking, oh, Atomic Knights, they're in the entire book. Nope, that's a complete lie as well. I have no idea why DC Comics did that too. Yeah, that's one of two things that puzzle me about this thing. Okay, you call it the Great Disaster. That's the big storyline for this whole thing. Fine. But saying featuring the Atomic Knights? Does that mean you just collect the Atomic Knights stories? No, they collected the entire Great Disaster post-apocalyptic stories, like every single one in this thick book. This book is it's not over 5, it's roughly almost like 600 pages. It's longer than a normal showcase book, which is just 500 pages exactly. This book is exactly 576 pages. That's how long this thing is. It's longer than the other showcase books I've read. Yeah, it's by far the longest one I've personally read. As for this channel, this is by far the 4th one I've ever reviewed. But the stories in here are pure classic. And also, another thing that really bugged me about this thing was the order of the stories. Yeah, these stories were not put in a proper order when they were released and publication-wise. Nope, a lot of these stories were released, put in the book out of order. It's kind of like this book was put together in a hurry, though at least all the pages were there. But yeah, the story's printed out of order for no reason. But are the stories bad? Nope. They're really good. I give the book I was going to give it a 10 out of 10 because the stories are really classic. But I'm going to have to take a quarter point off for 3 things. The cover being a big fat lie. The improper order of the actual stories themselves. Let's see, what else was it? Oh, yes. The tagline featuring the Atomic Knights. Yeah, that's another thing I take it off for. The big false advertisement that thinking, oh yeah, this is going to mean feature thing. Yeah, that's a big fat lie. So, 2 lies and having stories printed out of order, though the Return of the Gods, that actually is printed in order, which I do praise him for that. It's just that the Day of Doomsday stories, yeah, this is printed out of order. Okay, you have 78, and then you jump to 83 for some reason, and then it's back to 78, and then it's 78. Yeah, this is so bizarre. Day of Doomsday stories, yeah, these are the ones printed all out of order. I don't know why, but at least the other features in here are actually printed in the proper order. Pre-disaster warnings, Tales of the Atomic Knights, and The God's Return. Those are all printed in order. More Tales in the Post-Apocalyptic World, that's printed in order. Alternate Endings, yeah, they printed, well, in the proper release dates for this thing. So, I'm going to give this book a 9.75 out of 10. It's a great book, and I do recommend it, but like I said before, of the reasons why it doesn't get 10 out of 10. The fact that this cover is a lie, the tagline is a lie, and the stuff being out of order. Alright, next up is Manhunter, Volume 4, Unleashed. Written by Mark Andrego. With artwork by Javier Pina, Fernando Belito, Brad Walker, Diego Almost and Kufu. I think that's pronounced, yes. This book contains issues 24 to 30. Yeah, 7 issues. Now, those think, okay, I did review Volume 1 a few episodes back, but why do I have Volume 4? Where's Volumes 2 and 3? Couldn't find them. I got this at the same store. I actually got this. I got the first volume. Couldn't find the other book, and this was the only other volume they had, so I figured, oh, why not? I love the series, so I figured, oh, why not get it? I will definitely get the other volumes, and in case you're wondering how many volumes are there for this series, there is roughly about, I'd say about 5. Yeah, 5 volumes, because this contains up issue 30. Yeah, and the last volume goes to like 38. Yeah, this was a 30-issue run. And like you see in the cover, yep, this deals with Wonder Woman, which means this deals in the aftermath, like just before Infinite Crisis, with the whole thing of Wonder Woman. Well, first she was deemed not guilty by the World Court, and then because Maxwell Lord was a federal agent, she had to be tried by the U.S. court now for some stupid reason. Yeah, I have no idea why in the world this was really in universe a good idea. Also, we have appearance by longtime Wonder Woman villain Dr. Psycho, who goes frickin' nuts until he's taken up by Kate Spencer out of costume. Yep. Now, Wonder Woman is actually, now, they do take her to grand jury, but she's never indicted for the murder of Maxwell Lord. Which, even the media knows, yeah, she was already deemed not guilty by the world court. Why in the world are we going through this again? I mean, yes, she killed somebody, but here's kind of the thing. She had no choice in the matter. Also, we have an appearance by a Blue Beetle. Yeah, it turns out the guy is complete bogus. Yeah, who is he really? D-list DC villain Everyman. Yeah, those of you who know this guy's name, remember him from the Teen Titans cartoon, where his symbol was the icon for divide. That is literally what this guy's icon was in the show. Yeah, he's a shapeshifter. So he posed as Blue Beetle. Batman shows up in here like he did in the first volume. Now, here's kind of the neat thing about this particular series. After the first issue, Manhunter doesn't kill any villains after that. Like, right after she killed Copperhead, she never killed a single suit villain ever again. Now, I think in the case of Dr. Psycho show up in here, I don't think anybody reading this series was surprised to see Wonder Woman make an appearance in the series due to the fact Dr. Psycho is a Wonder Woman villain. I mean, when the Joker showed up in Superman, yeah, no one was surprised Batman showed up in the thing. Yeah, that's the weird thing about it. In the case of, let's say, Solomon Grundy, when they appeared in Batman books, did Alan Scott pop up in there? Once. But not every single time. Yeah. That was the weird thing about it when it came to Solomon Grundy. People call him mistaken for being a Batman villain. Excuse me. So they even have like a brief little team up. And eventually one of them is exonerated. Yeah, and the prosecutor blames the jury for celebrity bias because she's a celebrity. So they think, oh yeah, he thinks because she's a celebrity, it clouded their Dutch judgment. In my honest opinion, I'm sure a lot of readers probably agree with me on this, they decided not to indict her because the charge was ridiculous. And the fact there was plenty of evidence to support the fact that she had no choice but to kill him. So that's the reason why she was never, taken to trial. And also because they had Superman show up in here as well. Yes, Superman. So you can kind of say that this book is kind of a prelude to Infinite Crisis because of the whole trial thing. But this is overall really good story, and I gotta praise Mark Andreyko for doing this. For basically doing these issues. I am planning on getting the rest of this volume. I still kind of wish that the first 2 volumes were in trade, and also that this volume get a new printing. I would think in the case of Mark Shaw show up on Arrow, maybe that would spring DC's interest to print a new series of trades, print series trades for his volume. Nope. As far as I know. Oh yeah, and there was also plans to have him appear more on the show. That has so far never happened because as far as I know, I haven't watched the thing in a while. He has never returned to the show after, I think it was season 2. Yeah, it's been roughly 5 or 6 years since he last showed up in the show, and he has never returned at all. I have no idea why. Oh yeah, and also they do bring up, well, the fact that her grandfather, despite the fact her grandmother is Spencer Knight, not Spencer Knight, Sandra Knight, who is Phantom Lady. Her grandfather is a guy named Iron Murr, I think his name is. Yeah, he's a character from the All Star. He's from the Young All Stars series. Yeah, that's where he's from. He's a Roy Thomas creation. So I love the fact that Drago basically retconned that he was basically her grandfather. Brilliant stroke of genius. And it's now this character has appeared. Now she did return finally in this current continuity in the pages of Green Arrow, where she was Green Arrow's defense attorney. Yep. But this book is great. I give this book a 9.5 out of 10. It's really good. Alright, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for next episode where, yes, I will talk about Deadpool in the next one, okay? But until I see you on my next video, which will be episode number 597 and Doubleshot number 501, okay? But until I see you there, bye.